Hello and welcome to another update video about Cardano. In this video we're going to take a look at the Cardano price and also the Bitcoin price, and we take a look at the latest developments, give you a technical analysis update. We start briefly with Bitcoin here on the daily chart. If we zoom in, we can see that Bitcoin obviously tried to break out and actually broke out of this trend line here to the upside. We can see that Bitcoin is still struggling with that resistance zone, which is up here. We can see that we are at the current resistance zone where we were at around the 17th of September. We tried to push through that at the time, and after that we dropped. So as long as we can't break through it, we are going to struggle. Then the likelihood increases that we could push down once more, hit the target level of 37,500 once more in that ABC correction. So we could come down once more as long as we haven't pushed above 48,800. That is the key level, because that is the high of the last swing high here at I think it was the 17th or 18th of September. Now, where are we on the indicators? We can see that we're in the bullish range on the RSI. For the last couple of days, we managed to push into that together with this price move to the upside. The MACD is starting to look really nice now. Last time we had a similar scenario was end of July, and you know what happened after that. So a nice price increase. And on the ADX, we are still in a small uptrend. We can see that the directional movement line, the green line, pushed above the red line, which is a long signal, but you know, it could be a bit of a fake out here at the moment. The lines are still very close together, so we need to be careful about that. But the indicators are certainly starting to look better. They are starting to look better, but we always need to take a look at the bigger picture. So important for me is that we push above 48,800. Otherwise, we could come down once more. And just remember here, last time after the flash crash, we made another higher high, or lower high actually, lower high. And after that, after we managed to not to push through that zone, we dropped down further. And that is what could happen as well. You know, at the moment, this is just another lower high as well. Let's take a final look at the hourly before we go to Cardano. Here on the hourly, yesterday in the video, we identified that we had this triangle pattern. And I said, you know, probably when I wake up tomorrow morning, which is now, that we are going to have a breakout either way. And we did break out to the downside. However, it was a bit of a fake out at the moment. So we're pretty much at the same price level again. We are in the triangle now again right at this moment. So we broke out to the downside. We're now back in. But what we can observe on the hourly is that we are not making higher highs at the moment because of that triangle pattern. I mean, that breakout to the upside could still happen. But the first heads up that we have that we might not get it is that we have a bearish divergence on the sorry, on the RSI. I mean, the really bearish divergence is only here for this, from this line to this line, from this wave to this wave, and you can get it from this high to that high. It's a bit lower. That's where a bearish divergence really was happening. And it's just a first heads up that, you know, we are getting difficulties. It's running out of steam a little bit, and you can see that because we're currently on the hourly in a range market. You can see that on the ADX, because the ADX is below 20, which indicates that we are just in a range market at the moment. But certainly it remains very interesting. We're currently on our way up again to that triangle. So it's basically that we just need to be careful and still observe the same pattern in my view. We are just inside of the triangle again, and that means a decision point is just now. What is going to happen, and that is going to affect Cardano as well. But with regards to targets, I think when we push to the upside, yesterday I told you 53k could be the target, the next one, if we push to the upside, and that is that recent high that we saw back here before we had the flash crash. One area before that to watch out, and I did see that just before this video, is the 50,500 area. And the reason is, after such a strong drop in the first quarter normally, or first third, when the drop is happening, you have this supply and demand zone typically, which is a small consolidation where buyers step in and just try to push the price higher again, but they failed. But that is typically an area you see that time and time again when a strong trend is happening. Shortly after the trend started, that consolidation zone, and this is typically where we will find resistance. So 50,500 is where we will find some resistance with a high likelihood. But if we don't manage to push through that zone here, then we'll probably drop down to 40k again, or 41k down here at least, and possibly even a little bit lower to finish our ABC correction. And after that, then we should have finished it and we push our way to the upside, you know, shake a few of the weak hands out again and then push our way up. What is going to happen with Cardano? Let's take a look at the Cardano chart. Cardano currently here on the daily trading at 227, which is lower than when we made the update video yesterday. In yesterday's video, we saw that we were above 230, I think, and hit a key resistance level, and we are still there now. We didn't manage to push through, similar to that fake out to the downside that Bitcoin did yesterday, which I just showed you here on the hourly chart. And Cardano did the same, didn't manage to get through. Let's take a first look here at the indicators. We can see that we are still, so the indicators are still looking a little bit more bearish than on the Bitcoin chart, indicating that Cardano has a little bit to catch up on Bitcoin. We are still below 50 here on the RSI, still finding resistance at this 50 line, which would be a move into the bullish range here above 50. Also, the MACD is looking a little bit more, let's call it bearish, but actually it is getting green here on the histogram. We seem to have a trend reversal here on the MACD line, finally, so we are going to push further to the upside, I think, but it's a little bit behind Bitcoin at the moment. And here the ADX line still giving us a short signal because the red line is above the green line. So not looking brilliant at the moment compared to Bitcoin, which is probably also why we are struggling to see some positive moves here at the moment. And if we take a look at the 1 hour chart where we get a little bit more detail, we can see that, yeah, it certainly looks like a little bit with Bitcoin as well. It's losing steam a little bit. And we can see that as well, I think, here on the RSI, where we made a new high here from there. You see that wave to that wave. We made a new high, but the RSI didn't really go up further. And we made a little bit of a bearish divergence here. So again, first heads up that uptrend is slowing down a little bit. It's not a very strong bearish divergence. And to be honest, we were in the overbought range here, which is why we actually retraced a little bit down here. But it's just the first heads up. And that we need to be aware that the downtrend, the uptrend could be slowing down a little bit. Similar to Bitcoin, where we've seen a similar divergence. Here we can currently see that we found some strong resistance at the 231 level, which we had on the chart before. I think if we manage to break that, we could certainly get to the 245. I did say that yesterday, which is that recent swing high here. But really to get over the line, get out of the, or over the mountain really, we need to get above 265, which is, I don't know where it is actually. I think here, 265. Here, that is the 265 level. That is the key level. Yes, we pushed up higher here, but those were only the wicks on the hourly and the 4 hour chart. On the daily and the 4 hour chart. But here at 265, we had important candles closing on the 4 hour chart and the daily chart, which is only then I would really confidently say that the bull run is going to continue now and that we finish this temporary consolidation within which we are currently trading. But at the moment, yeah, we seem to struggle to push through the 231. But as I said yesterday, we have the first heads up as well that on a larger scale that uptrend might continue now because we formed here in that swing low. We formed the higher low. Yeah, so that is a good indicator. But again, don't forget that happened here as well. We might higher low. So, you know, it's always easy to say these things, but then take a look at the bigger picture. We made higher lows here as well after the flash crash, and then dropped once more when we failed to push to the upside. So it's just something to be aware of. And again, we made a very, very similar structure here. We also need to be careful that we don't form something like a head and shoulders here, where we have one shoulder here, a head here, and possibly a shoulder here. If we drop once more, then we could have a head and shoulders with a diagonal support line, and that really could send us down once more. That is what I expected anyway, to see another push to the downside. And yeah, we talked about that smaller head and shoulders here, which we saw a few days ago before we pushed to the downside. So we identified that before the move to the downside. And now we could see something here like a larger head and shoulders. It's not very clear, but they sometimes aren't very clear. And that is then when it gets very interesting, because not many people spot them. But that is only a head and shoulders if we really see another lower high here and then push to the downside, push to that neckline again, and then potentially see us set down to 180 once more. All right, so, and that is pretty much the update at the moment. We'll certainly give you an update later if we see further developments, because currently we are still in that range here. We are still in that support resistance zone, sorry, and we have problems to push through the 231. So as soon as that happens, or as soon as we really push down, I'll certainly give you an update video. Will be certainly very, very interesting. And as you remember, I still expect, as long as we haven't seen a push above 265, and I stick with that scenario, no reason to change it at the moment, because we have technically only made a lower high at the moment, that we could come down once more into that target range. We've been in the target range before. I told you that we have been there already, but it wasn't quite at the golden ratio. It wasn't quite at the golden pocket, which is why first reason is because normally you get to the golden ratio. So that is the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level at $1.81. That is certainly where I expected the price to go to. That is why I still think the correction might not be over yet, but we hit the target level already. We hit the box between the 0.5 and between the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level. So we were there, we have seen it. So technically the ABC correction could have been over. We actually saw it already here, but I still think we could come down once more, because we haven't quite seen the Fibonacci retracement level touching the 0.618 at 181, and possibly we could come down even a little bit further, because we've got the next key Fibonacci retracement level here sitting at 146. Now that would be quite a big of a drop. Yeah, let's see if that is going to play out. But honestly, if we push higher and if we get above 265, I think that B correction here will then be over, right? But 280 is certainly those wicks as well that we need to watch out for. But more importantly, I think those 265, and you can see it on the 4-hour chart, I believe, or is it on the daily? Here it's the, no, I need to go to the daily. On the daily, we can see that these candles of the B correction actually closed at 265. So that is what I am certainly looking for. Just go to the daily. There you go. If I zoom up a little bit, there you go. This is here the 265 level. I want us to get above that. Okay, so hopefully you liked that update video. If you did, please smash the like button. And if you want to follow me on this crypto journey, then please subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.